Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you 3 different ways to join granny squares. The first way is by stitching them together using a stitch called whip stitch. You'll need to thread your needle with a long length of the colour of your choosing and turn your squares so that the right sides face each other. Now insert your needle through the corner hole, you can see it there, feed your needle through and pull the yarn. Do this twice so that your corners are secure. To create a nice finish, you'll want to work through the outside loops on your square, that's the ones nearest the edges. So insert your needle into the first stitches through those outside loops and pull it through. Now do exactly the same in the next stitch along, working in the same direction that you started in. Continue across the side of your square, inserting your needle in the outside of each pair of stitches. Work with your needle in the same direction, and this is making a whip stitch. This is what the whip stitch looks like on the inside of your work. I've used a contrasting coloured thread so you can see what I've done, but you may want to use the same colours as in your squares. By stitching through the outside loops only, we've created 2 ridges, which gives a nice detailing on your squares, and it makes a really secure seam too. The next method I'm going to show you is to double crochet your squares together. This time you want your squares with the wrong sides facing. Make sure that your crochet hook is ready with the yarn of your choice and a slip knot already on it. Insert your hook into the corner of both the squares, then yarn over, pull the yarn through and complete your double crochet stitch. Now you need to work through both of the loops of the pairs of stitches across the side of your square. Insert your hook through the first stitch and then the second stitch on the other square. Yarn over and yarn over again to complete the stitch. Continue to make a double crochet through each of the pairs across the sides of your square. When you've completed a side of double crochet, your stitching will look like this. You'll have a line of stitches which gives a slightly raised effect. This also makes for a really secure seam. When you're joining granny squares together one by one using this method or the whip stitch, the best thing to do is to stitch them all together to create a row and then stitch all the rows together. The last method I'm going to show you is a real favourite with crocheters, as it's the join as you go method. You can see that I've crocheted the first corner and one side of the square I wish to join to this one. I need to finish the corner, so I'm going to make a chain of 1 and then I'm going to make a double crochet into the corner just there of the other granny square. So hook into the corner, yarn over and pull through a loop and then yarn over to complete the double crochet stitch. Now I need to finish off the cluster of 3 stitches, that's 3 trebles, into the corner of my original square. Now I need to make another join, so I'm going to make another double crochet into the chain 1 space there between the clusters. Hook into the space, yarn over and through, and then yarn over to complete the stitch. Now I need to put my next group of 3 treble stitches into the chain 1 space as before. Once the 3 trebles are complete, it's time to join in the chain 1 space again. Hook into space, yarn over and make a double crochet. The double crochet joins are instead of chaining one, which you would normally do when you're making a granny square. After you've done that, make your next group of 3 trebles and you're ready to carry on with another joining stitch. So hook into the space and make a double crochet as before. Now we've reached the corner, we need to put in the 3 treble stitches of the first cluster before we then make another joining stitch, a double crochet into the corner. That cluster's complete, so it's 1 double crochet into the corner to complete this side of the square. Once the double crochet stitch is completed, chain 1 for the corner and then put 3 more trebles to finish the corner stitching on that part of the square. Now finish off the stitching around the rest of the square and you'll be ready to join your next one. When you're using this join as you go method, you'll find that there are times when you'll need to add a square by joining it along 2 sides. It's not difficult at all. Just join your first side as you would do normally. You can see here I've got to the end of my first square and have completed the first treble cluster. I now need to join into the corners of both of these squares. I don't need to chain 1 here because I'm going to make 2 stitches. The first is a double crochet into the corner of this square, and the second is into the corner of this square. Now I can carry on and join this side of the square as I did before. This is what it looks like when the squares are joined using the join as you go method. It gives a really nice finish and is perfect if you've got granny squares that are different colours. My book, Beginner's Guide to Crochet, is available for pre-order now. Don't forget to look at my blog for lots of patterns, tips and tutorials. And if you fancy trying something new, then why not buy one of the patterns from my Etsy shop. See you again soon. Bye!